I was thinking I should say now, and now let the games begin, but I think we're now primed with a lot of good content to think about the answers to some specific questions. And so let's go to the first question post hearing these folks. And so here's the question. Everybody got a clicker? Anybody need a clicker? We're in good shape, hopefully. If somebody, we've got a clicker need over here. Thank you. Excellent. All right. So here's your first question that you can respond to. What do you feel is the strongest barrier to partnering? Perceived conflict of interest by outside parties, loss of credibility, potential real conflict of interest, one party stands to benefit more from than another, lack of trust, or there's no significant barriers or other. So while you're thinking about this and responding, and I see it's going slowly, can we have a quick snap from the panel? What's your, there's a microphone there, Yanni, please. I know you don't need one, but anyways, what would be your answer?
I think for me, I think the answer would be, I like a lot of them, but I'd probably pick number 4.
Okay. Number 4, one party stands to benefit too much. Michael. We've stumped the panel already. And keep your voting.
I think that working very closely with industry, I think number 3, the potential real conflict of interest. There is always the threat when you bring parties to the table who have to speak the truth and actually deal with facts only when it comes to marketing in particular, that they're going to be faced with a dilemma that may be difficult to resolve. And I think that's something that we just have to keep pushing those boundaries till. Okay.
Kim, do you want to answer quickly?
Done.
I'll say potential real conflict of interest.
And
I would say 2 things. Number 1, the overarching one, lack of trust across the different parties, leading to that perceived or real conflict of interest by outside parties.
Okay,
because sometimes
great.
that does happen.
Okay, so let's find out what you, the audience, have to say. If we can go, are you all done? Come on, a couple more, quickly. Get your votes in. Why did you wait till after? I guess you wanted to hear the panelists again. Okay, can we close it off now? It's going slow. And here we go. So the majority of people in the room feel that that potential real conflict of interest is the most important, with perceived conflict of interest or loss of credibility. We've got some others there. Anybody who marked other want to explain why or what they're thinking that might be different from these? Anybody? No, you don't have to out yourself. It's okay. Bill, did you want to respond? Can we get a microphone over here? Oh, okay. Kat, anybody else? Okay. All right. So let's make an observation here. What are you seeing here? What do you think is going on here? Is this a function of who's in the room? Is there anything else? What about those folks who said, let's see, lack of trust in other parties, or there's no significant barriers? Actually, that one would be a good one to explore. Anybody who answered no significant barriers want to tell us what they're thinking? Come on, folks. You're not that shy. Really? Oh, you're disappointing. Come on. Anybody want to make an observation here about what they're seeing? No? Yep. Okay, back here. Got a microphone? Behind you? Coming up behind you.
My name is Member Shabir, UNBC School of Health Sciences. I think the comment that I forgot the gentleman's name, 5 leading to 3, is really what I have observed. We've been trying to build a men's health program in northern BC with focus on type 2 diabetes, occupational health. Without labeling the organizations, the struggle that we're fighting with the industry partners in Alberta and BC specifically is to partner with the UNBC. They're suspicious of our intentions because we want to apply for funding, justifiably, from a population public health perspective, but then again, what's in it for me? That is the question that I get. What's in it for me? And some of them have workplace health promotion. Thank you. Okay.
We've got a speaker down here, and we only have one mic, so you could come up here, or it's coming. Sorry. Only one roving mic. Apologize for that. Bill?
Bill Comers, University of Alberta. I thought your positions were all very, very clearly articulated. My problem is this. So I've experienced in sort of conflicts of interest with pharma. I'm a pharmacologist. We're interested in designing, understanding processes of why we get fat, and in the basic research, I think to summarize, it depends on the level of interaction where you are, and the use of the interaction is put to particularly by the industry partner. So if for example Merck or Eli Lilly is funding my research because they want to know how the brain works and why things go wrong, and they use that to develop drugs, I don't really perceive a conflict. It may or may not work, but at least they're not selling more drugs because of it. But I think when it comes to the primary core business, which is, for example, McDonald's selling food, it's innate. You can't limit the sales of things without hurting yourself. So of course that's going to be there. So I think it depends on how you interact, where you interact, and the further up you get towards public health and public health policy, the more difficult that is.
So hang on to that mic for a second, because I want to open this one up just a little bit and ask the question, okay, so there's lots of publications out there that say if your trial is funded by pharma, you're going to have a more positive outcome. So is it only okay in your book if it's basic science and it's really early in the pipeline, and as you get further along the pipeline and you start to get closer to marketing that drug, it's not okay? Where would you draw the line?
Well, I think again, based on experience, if you look at what happened to Charlie Nemiroff in psychiatry, the closer you get to selling a product, the more the conflict is going to be there. Mm-hmm. So if you're trying to understand things, and you can probably partner in industry and try and understand the public health issues and try and understand the currents and things that advertising, for example, how that influences people and how it gets to them. That could be viewed and appropriately as proper research, but you still have the conflict that when it comes down to selling it, has industry learned how to sell bad stuff more effectively, or have they learned the lesson that maybe there's a better way of selling good stuff?
Richard, do you want to comment on that?
I think, as you've outlined, it's complicated, and I think it depends on the level of interaction, as you say. I can't speak on behalf of all of industry. I can speak on behalf of, McDonald's, the company that I work for. When I say it has taken us time to understand and learn how to work in this space. Because as you said, we all do bring our biases to the table, and we're in the business of selling food to Canadians, and we proudly do that, and we'll continue to do so for many years to come, I hope. But to me, the point is, we are experts in selling food. What we are not experts in is science, in other facets that academics would bring to the table, researchers would bring to the table, what NGOs bring to the table. So for us, and I'm a communications guy, so for me it's pretty straightforward. It's about communicating out and receiving information back. That's, as I said earlier, how we learn, how we grow, and I think how we adjust our business model for the future so that we, in fact, can be a sustainable organization. These comments and discussion items are very much the ones I think people have around their dinner tables at night with their family. And so we all need to respond to them.
Okay. All right. Thanks. One last rejoinder quickly.
I think your industry is particularly the marketing arm of industry, is in a unique position to harvest data that might be useful for both parties. Mm-hmm. So you have a huge research arm. You don't actually talk about much, but marketing research particularly in big companies, is very, very good. So if you figure out what works, what doesn't, maybe that's a way of giving back to the public health organizations.
Yeah, and I think as I said in my brief remarks there, with regards to the Nutrition Facts Education campaign that was spearheaded by Health Canada, I think Health Canada realized, there's an opportunity here to, learn from subject matter experts in the marketing field like us, and that's why we were able to collaborate with them on that program.
Okay, I know Yanni wants to say something, but we're going to move on to the next question. Sorry. Okay, no. So next question. What would most motivate you to engage in a public-private partnership? So you've heard a lot of debate. Lots of you don't want to go there at all. But if you could be motivated, what would that look like? Is it a broader platform? So get your votes in now. Broader platform and reach for the message. And certainly, clearly, the reach of private sector is great. We showed in Canada on the Move that the reach of Kellogg's with messages around pedometers and walking 2,000 steps a day significantly impacted people's behavior. Access to additional additional financial resources, sometimes in the form of food. Deeper understanding of each other's perspectives. Access to resources my organization does not have. Enhancing public perception of my organization. There are no significant motivations to partnering. So get your votes in. Yanni, is there anything that would motivate you to engage in a public-private partnership?
No.
Okay. Kim, what about you, actually? Let's go with the naysayers here.
I would say no if it was big food.
Okay.
But I could see potential broader platform and reach for a message if it was something that was not in conflict of interest with the organization.
I would agree with that.
Michael?
What I would say, and again, my platform was that it's the market that drives what they sell. And so there I would pose a challenge, and that is, for instance, here's a simple way to drive a big change in the marketplace, and that is to post the calories and fat content of the foods that they sell right on the menu that people see when they walk in the door, not hidden in a brochure somewhere, but right up there. And by doing so, and then offering better choices right beside that have more reasonable calorie amounts, then right away they would start to drive people over to these other healthier choices and build the market that direction. Subway's done that quite successfully. And you know when you walk into Subway, there's a certain number of choices you can make that are within your calorie goals. So my question is that if you really want to work with policymakers, why does the food industry so vehemently resist that one simple change?
Okay, quickly. Go for it.
We're answering this question or that question. I agree with Kim's point, the broader platform to reach for our message if done right. And I would say the other one here is for industry, or at least for the McDonald's experience, getting expertise that we don't own. That's really important to us. With regards to labeling in restaurants, a lot of people don't know, I don't disagree, a lot of people don't know that we actually have in every McDonald's restaurants across the country a very large poster next to where you order, which allows all of our customers what we feel is more full and complete nutrition information on the things that they are about to purchase, more than just calories, but including calories, fat, sat fat, sugar, salt, protein, etc. And that's in every restaurant, which we feel does a much better job of providing the information. The informed dining program that I mentioned earlier will further augment that by putting something on the menu board that says don't forget to ask for information before you make your choice. And then we have an even broader amount of information that's made available to customers to make that choice.
Okay.
Plus our nutrition app and the other 7 programs that we have.
Okay,
Sorry, you asked me.
I know, but I'm going to let Yanni have one more comment here. But wait, I want to make sure that everybody knows I'm going to close off polling immediately when he stops speaking. So, and you better not take.
I won't be long. So I think it's important always to ask why industry might want to support a particular intervention. In regard to things like the informed dining program and those posters on walls, we actually know quite clearly that they are not utilized. So there was a wonderful study that was done in Boston, I believe it was Boston, included McDonald's, Au Bon Pain, and one other restaurant that had either a poster on the wall, a kiosk, that was Au Bon Pain, and a pamphlet. And what they scored was the number of people who actually utilized those resources. And if you looked at the poster, like not even standing right there, but turned towards it, it counted. 6 people. 0.1% of patrons used these services. I think the reason people in industry want to support informed dining is because it will not, in fact, inform dining. And instead, we need to have the labels right up front because people, all of us, I'm not specifically referring to people who frequent fast food regularly, we don't take that time. It's fast food for a reason. We're in a hurry. We're not studying.
Okay, so that doesn't bring you the data that says that when people do look at the menu boards and then they make a healthy choice, they eat more later in the day. So, you know, it's not that simple, is it? No. I'm the moderator. I get control. Okay, so let's look at the results here, please. Okay, what have we got here? That access to resources my organization does not have is the winning vote, and isn't that sort of what CON is doing? That's an interesting question. Number 2, broader platform and reach, access to additional financial resources with very few people, well, actually a fair number of others. So anybody who said other about motivation here, want to speak to that? We've got an answer back here. Is that PJ? Yeah, you're getting a mic. Just a second. Excellent. Okay. Anybody else who said other? We've got one over here that wants to speak to this or comment. Sean, use the mic, please. Thanks.
I'm Sean Wharton, internal medicine from Burlington in Ontario. I debated between one and other because I think we frequently talk about the difference between smoking and food, or we liken the relationship, and I don't think they're actually the same. So I think we may want to stop doing that on a regular basis because we actually do need food and you don't actually need to smoke. So, but when you do talk about food, we have to have industry, and we have to have food industry. The question is what is that relationship going to be, and can we actually change them? It's like being in a relationship or with or having a friend that you know is good, but there's some challenges, some problems, but you believe that being in that relationship, you can make some changes with them to make them actually be better. So that was the point that was just made. Without us having a discussion, without McDonald's being here, they wouldn't know that putting the calories right on the board is most important, and probably a bunch of other things. But you've got to find out that information, so we have to have the relationship. So you need to be here, Wendy's needs to be here, and a bunch of other people, and we have to change you. And maybe in the next 20 years, we won't be talking about McDonald's being the burger, fries, salad, and parfait joint, but it will be the salad, parfait, and yogurt and some other joint, and you'll be making more money than Whole Foods does. I don't know, but that relationship has to change, and if we don't talk, we'll never end up getting there.
Thanks, Sean. Really interesting point.
I'd like to make a small point.
Really quick, okay.
Really quick, and that is the idea that somehow innovation comes from government is absolutely preposterous. Ask anybody that lived in, ask Dr. Sharma, he lived in Berlin. What was the best car that they made in East Germany over those many years? I mean, yeah, exactly. Give your head a shake. I mean, where did this come from? It came from business. Innovation is going to come about through pharmaceutical companies and food companies seeing an opportunity in this marketplace and tapping very, very bright minds to bring about tools for our trade that we don't have right now. We have absolutely no drugs for obesity. We have nothing. What are we going to do? We're basically dealing with a bunch of theories right now and patting ourselves on the back when people lose weight and then they mostly regain it. We need innovation. It's not going to come through government. It's going to come through industry. Reality is there.
Okay. We need to cut it off because we have a couple more questions before we close and we're running out of time. So the next question, please. So we've got a lot of opinions about public-private partnerships in the room, but how much experience do people really have with these kinds of partnerships? So, one, the issue of P3s is not directly relevant to my work. Two, the issue of P3s is relevant to my line of work, but I haven't dealt with them directly. Three, we've been involved in discussions, involved in discussions about whether or not to engage in P3s, and I have been responsible for decision-making in P3s or other. So Please put your votes in quickly. Let's keep going really quick. You want to comment?
Yeah, I do. Just in regard to what Sean was saying before, I think that Sean was shortchanging industry. I think industry is a lot smarter than that. I think industry scientists are among the world's best. They get paid well. They don't have the same, publish or perish that we do in real academia, or not real academia, but academia. I think that really that was not a purposeful
I think
statement.
their public or perish is market share, is it not?
Well, it is, but I think that the bottom line is to suggest that they did not know that the study that existed showed that nobody looked at the menu boards. I really think that shortchanges industry, and I don't think that they need our help in that sense. I really don't, and if they want it, they can certainly get it without partnerships. We can have discussions. There's nothing wrong with that. It's when money trades hands that there's a problem.
Okay, quick rejoinder, Richard, and then I want to close off polling here because I'm going to get the axe myself soon.
Thanks. Just responding to that one, like someone said, in industry we do have the benefit of having large research capabilities, and in the jurisdictions in the United States, for example, where we have put caloric-only postings on menu boards, here's what our research has shown across all of the jurisdictions. Number one, there is a product mix, which is, our word for what people buy. There's a product mix change for about 2 weeks, and then things rebound right back to where they were. And so that's why, in all honesty, we prefer to provide people with more information than just calories. But the reality of business is we can't have 6 or 7 things on our menu board. There'd be no way to market food, and we're food marketers.
Okay. We agree to disagree, obviously, on this one. So let's see the results of this one. Close it off, and here we go. So most people have considered the issue of P3s as relevant, but they haven't dealt with them. And actually, a substantial number of people have been involved in public-private partnerships in the room. So that's actually more than I was expecting. All right, let's go to the last question here. And this is a question you were asked before. So what level of engagement? So this is the opinion, the message you want to send to CON's board of directors. I'm sure some of them are in the room. What level of engagement with industry do you personally support for the purposes of obesity prevention and treatment? Is it little or no, dialogue and or consultation only, collaboration without cash contributions, financial contributions without co-branding, financial contributions with co-branding, or other? Get your votes in quickly, please, so we can actually go to the results, compare them, and see if we actually had any change. Anybody's opinions were swayed. Keep going. Let's go. There's more people in the room than that. Let's go. Is Anton here? I was going to see. No? Okay. All right. Quickly. Get your votes in right now. I feel like a teacher. All right, let's close it off and have a look at the results. So what level of engagement do people support? Financial contributions without co-branding. I wonder what's in it for the folks that are giving you the money under those circumstances. We can talk to that. But so interestingly enough, actually, little or no engagement didn't get very much. So you want to?
Nor did I. I said that we should have dialogue.
Okay. So dialogue. So 7 and 19%. What about the others? Anybody in the other here? Or anybody want to comment on what they're seeing here? Yes, Ted, please. Back there.
I think it's a false dichotomy to say that we're either going to have an adversarial relationship or a collaborative relationship. I think there's a role for both, and I've seen it operate in other areas where, there are people who are oriented like Yoni to hold people's feet to the fire, and that's a good factor, and folks in industry need to have the capacity to take it, and there's a role for dialogue and collaboration.
Excellent. Any other quick comments? One more over here, and then we'll look at the results from the first one to see if we moved anybody's opinion. Your mic is coming right up to your left there.
I just wanted to make the comment.
Identify yourself.
Oh,
please.
sorry. It's Mary Jetha, pediatric endocrinology from Edmonton. I think there's probably room for industry in the area of physical activity. And so we talked so much about food, but I think that's one area where probably partnerships should be open or more open. That's
okay. Thank you. Can we see the results? So now remember this pattern. Well, can't say that we changed too many people. A little bit of a shift there. Unfortunately, we can't show them side by side, but it looks like there was a. Can you go back one more time? So, looks like towards the end we moved a few people. So this is the current one, and one back to the original. Yeah. So it looks like we moved a few people out of little or no engagement to possible forms of engagement. So I suggest that this was a worthwhile conversation.
Opposite, Diane.
Is it the opposite?
Yeah,
no.
It's the opposite.
This one that we're looking
from
at.
number 5 to numbers 2 and 3 being more prominent. So the 20% went to 19 and 19.
Well, I was looking at the one, and and I was thinking. Anyways, we'll do the post hoc analysis. I guess there's a good reason to write the paper.
None of it is statistically significant.
Thank you very much. Okay, so before everybody leaves, first let me ask you to give our speakers a round of applause. Thanks to you, the audience, for helping us have a lively conversation. I have a couple of things to say before you leave the room. Hold up your clicker. Don't put it back in your pocket. Hand it to the person on your way out. You would be surprised how many of these goes in people's pockets. The second thing is I was meant to give a disclosure at the beginning, and I want to just let you all know that the funds to support for the clickers came through the Building Trust Initiative, which had pingos, dingoes, bingos, and government. It's interesting to see IHR as a pingo in your slide. It's not. It's government. But all of those different sectors contributed to providing the resources that allowed us to pay for the clickers today. So thanks, everybody.